Just a quick intro. You'll remember in part one that I bought this Golf for £700, about 950 US dollars, and the garage said no, it needs a new engine. It's probably a cracked piston or piston ring. They'd done everything they could, and as you know from the previous video, I proved that the injector that they replaced was duff. So I decided in this one to replace it with another second-hand injector and also do an injector seal replacement, effectively like a mild refurb of the injectors. So let's get to it. So welcome back to another video on my £700 Mk5 Golf GTI. I've got some parts. I've spent probably about £200. I'll itemise the parts so you can see either on the screen now or a bit later, but just wanted to go through some of the bits that I wanted to get. So a lot of you said that I should go to Artec. I have contacted them. It's going to be about just over £1,000 to get the walnut blasting, DSG gearbox remap or service rather, and a stage 1 remap, but that didn't include any work that they would do on looking at the problems with the injector. So what I've done is I've bought a second-hand injector, and the main thing with this is a few people have mentioned that the injector that was causing the issue before had the wrong number here. I don't know if you can see that. It's difficult to zoom in on that. But basically it's 0261 039, which is the same as the other 3 injectors on my car, whereas the one that the garage had replaced had 020. Now that might not make a difference, but the point is, I spoke to the previous owner of the car, and he said when he took it in, it failed its MOT on the engine management light and a slight misfire, but it was totally drivable. After it came back from the garage with another injector, it's not drivable at all. So I think that was around £60. The other thing I've done, bought a new PCV valve. I've bought this from Volkswagen. It's the latest one, with the R revision, and that was also around 60 odd pounds. Apparently buying aftermarket ones is a bit of a false economy. I did need a new pipe. You would have seen, I think, that I snapped one of the pipes. It goes onto the PCV valve. This one I did buy a Phoebe Bilstein one because Volkswagen wanted about 30 or 35 pounds per pipe. I can't remember what I paid for this exactly, but it will be on the screen, and I'm sure that as long as it fits okay, it'll be fine. And the last thing I did, and I found a really good video on like a rebuild kit for the injectors, and so this includes the little white thing which goes at the end of the injector, and it includes the new things for the back, and these, I'm not really sure what they're for, but they're like a location thing, and it's actually broken on mine. So yeah, I got 4 of these in the pack. I mean, they look like they're pretty decent kit, so hopefully they will work quite well. I'll put a link in the description for the video that shows how to do these, but I thought while it's open I may as well do that. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and get it running first. I want to get it MOT'd and properly running before I take it to Artec. It will go to Artec. I want to get the gearbox service, I want to get the remap done, but I feel like it's a bit of a challenge first to get the car running. So these are my first jobs. Not sure when I'll get them done, hopefully this weekend, if not during the week. And fingers crossed we get the car up and running. Nice sunny day today, so I'm going to attempt to, or not attempt, I'm going to take the inlet manifold off. Not going to show the process. I think you've seen that one before. You've seen all the parts I've bought, so I'm going to get this off, clean up the injectors and replace all the seals on them. Not sure if I'll get it all done today, but I'm going to make a start on it. Right, that's all off now. Injectors are out, and I've got the PCV valve off, so that can be replaced. This is the pipe that needs replacing. As you can see, it's got tape around it. So next thing is to change the seals on the injectors. Right, so it's time to change the seals on this. I've done one already. This was the chamber seal, the one that's on the end there. It just sort of snapped when I took it off, so it just shows what can happen to these. So a few things I've got, and you'll see this on, I did link a video below, but I decided to do my own video anyway. A cable tie with the catch bit taken out, a pair of needle pliers, a set of wire brushes. Main thing is having the brass and the stainless steel ones, and a couple of pens which I'm going to use for putting the seal back on. So first thing to do is remove this seal, and if it's anything like the other one, it will just come off. This is where it's not going to come off, and it's going to cause me hassle. There we go. So, and also this one on the back, take off. Probably should use a screwdriver really, but there we go. You can replace this little thing on the back here, but this is not broken, so I'm not going to replace it. So first thing we need to do, can also take this retainer off. This is broken anyway, I've got a new one in the kit. And this, I don't actually know what they do, but anyway, there's new ones supplied. So first thing we're going to do is give it a clean up with the wire brushes. So I'm not sure why you'd use different wire brushes for the body and the tip, but I can understand the brass is probably a bit softer, so maybe not to damage it. But we're just going to go over the body, get into the groove, and just make sure that there's no carbon build up on there. Make sure that the groove is clear as well. It's got some muck on there from the seal. And then use this one just to clean the end. So now that's a lot cleaner. It's leaking petrol as well. So now we can put the new seals on. So I've got this kit here. And this comes with the main two seals. So the one on the back, let's just give that a little clean, make sure that's okay. This one just goes on like that. The other one, which has just disappeared. There it is. This is a bit more difficult to get on because, as you can see, it's the same size. So what we need to do is stretch it and then shrink it back down onto there. And to do that, we use a pen. So when I did this yesterday on the other one, I actually took this out and I stretched it over the top there all the way to the back and then used that onto there. The only trouble is the pen isn't round, it's octagonal, I think. So I'm just going to try initially, I'm going to put it on and stretch it to there, just give it a minute and see whether I can actually get it onto the injector without having to pull it right over the back of the pen. So let's give that a go. That's now been on there for a second. And this might not work. So you don't want to damage the seal. No, not going to work. So I'm going to have to do it what I did yesterday, which is put it over there. All the way to the end. Okay. And then we can just transfer it onto there. Obviously that's quite loose at the moment, so now what we need to do is shrink it down, so we can just use this cable tie initially. That just gives it enough. Hold it there for a second, because then I'm going to use this pen lid over the top. It's not the easiest of things. Because the pen lid is tapered, it should allow it to shrink down. So I've just left that on there for a little while, so push that right on, and now take that off. See, that is in a lot better condition. It's gone back smaller. So just the last things to do, we put this retainer on. It doesn't want to go on. There we go. So that goes on, and then the kit comes with a metal holder for the retainer, and that just needs to go on there and clip in. So now that is an injector ready to go back on the car. Right, there we go, all four of them done. This is the replacement one. I'm keeping the cap on that. I'm going to mark this because I want to make sure that I know which one it is and where it goes, so that I can make sure if there's any issues with this injector that I bought second hand. So hoping it's all going to be all right. They're all matching part numbers, so let's get them back in the car. Right, here we go. Got the injectors all done. This one with the lid on is the replacement one, so I'm going to put that into injector number one, into cylinder number one, so that I know which one to look out for misfire. I just realised that isn't quite as clean as I want it in there. I've just given them a clean up inside. I need to give it another clean. I've got a new PCV valve to go on. I've got a new pipe. This pipe needs to be taken off the bottom and put back on. to here, just see before I do anything, and then yeah, we can get it all back together again. Right, so manifold back on, injectors all went in nicely, got the new PCV breather pipe on. That was a little bit difficult getting it on down there, quite a tight fit. I need to make sure I put the mounting in for this after, make sure everything's plugged in, get the PCV on, connect up the fuel lines, and then last thing is the real pain in the backside is getting the throttle body on, but then time to start it up. Right, so next morning now, I've got everything back together. Math sensor all plugged in. I haven't put this on, but that doesn't matter. So let's see what it's like. I'm just gonna cycle the fuel pump a bit, get fuel through. Okay. Misfiring. That's not happy. Okay, right. I'm going to have to plug it in and see what's caused, hopefully, it's cylinder number 1, which is the replacement injector, because it means that injector's bad. Well, and there we go. Engine management lights flashing, and cylinder 1. So the injector that I got off eBay is duff. What an absolute pain. To say I'm disappointed is a bit of an understatement, really. I sort of hoped that injector would be okay. I did have some reservations because it was obviously an injector that had been replaced at some point, but I wrongly assumed that it had been tested, and I'll bring that up. I'll take that up with the eBay seller. But on the plus side, the injector, the misfire has moved to cylinder 1 now, which is where the replacement injector was, so we know it's definitely an injector issue and not a problem with the cylinder. And since I've put all the new seals on, I'm not getting any misfires from the other 3 injectors now, 3 cylinders. So it looks like I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy either a new injector or a refurbished one. I probably should have done that in the first place. The worst thing is taking that inlet manifold off is an absolute pain. You can get 90% of the way absolutely fine, but there's just a few bits, like getting the throttle body off is absolute pain, and I've got the scars to prove it on my hands. So hopefully in the next one it'll actually be running and can go for an MOT. So bye for now.